to 2+ inches of total rainfall, with locally higher amounts. Yesterday, we warmed up well above average and missed the records. High of 89 yesterday in Charleston, a good 12 degrees above average yesterday. No rain yesterday. Now, today, rain will be likely as soon as this morning. We have a cold front pushing west to east today with some embedded areas of low pressure. So generally likely rain and storms. I'll be timing some multiple rounds potentially with this frontal passage. Most of us have a marginal risk today of some isolated severe storms. Hail and damaging winds are possible, and also a marginal risk of excessive rain for some local flash flood potential. Fly area forecast, it starts at home. To the east, still some record heat out there in spots like Washington, D.C. and New York City potentially. New York City, another day with a heat advisory out there. To the north, rainstorms likely. Can't rule out a strong or severe storm and some very heavy rain. Lows in the 50s and upper 40s tonight. To the east, still some lingering heat concerns out here. Low to mid-90s for many of you. Mid-50s tonight. Watching for local flash flood potential.
Let's see. Check. Fix it.
Rain and stormy. Warmer than average today. Lows around 50s, some 60s to the eastern areas tonight. And to the south, still some highs well in the ranks of the mid to upper 80s. Huntington near 83. Lows around the mid-50s and low 60s for many of us tonight. In Charleston, rainstorms likely. Isolated flash flooding and a severe storm can't be ruled out. Thursday through the holiday weekend, Memorial Day, Tuesday, all likely chances of rain. Timing a warm frontal push at some point for the holiday weekend. Some more moisture coming in too.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Coming up this morning, President Trump's influence felt throughout the primary elections held yesterday in a half dozen states. We'll recap that. Appalachian Power is defending a rate increase. Also, we'll check in with friend of the program and conservative columnist Mike McKenna. Lots to get to. It's MetroNews Talkline, and we're underway.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the MetroNews Radio and Television Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful show in West Virginia. This is MetroNews Talkline with Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows.
Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Cue Dave and TJ. You're on. MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Welcome inside the Encova Insurance Studios. Gang's all here. Jake Link handling the video stream. Ethan Collins, our audio producer. Of course, TJ is in the Encova Insurance Studios South. Our phone number, 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. You can text the show at 304-TALK-304. We appreciate you being part of our day on one of our great radio affiliates across the states. And if you're watching on the MetroNews television app, YouTube or Facebook Live. Also, second hour of the show, we'll get an update on the conversation surrounding data centers up in Tucker County near Davis and Thomas. We'll get into that. Matt Cloak from Country Roads News will join us coming up. That's second hour of the show. Say good morning. TJ Meadows down in the Charleston studios this morning, as he usually is. TJ, good morning.
Good morning. It was like being a rat in a maze this morning, finding my way to work. Detours galore. I mean, it was just
construction crashes. What was going on, man?
Construction, just busy. Things all for the betterment of the city. Don't get me wrong. I was just having to go around and everything. And I'm a creature of habit. I don't really like it when my habit is disturbed, but I'll be okay.
I understand they've had an overnight closure on I-79 here in Montague County. And it's not a big deal. You go down to the next exit, you turn around, you get back, come up the other way, get to where you need to be. It's just that it takes me 5 minutes longer, and it throws my whole morning off, TJ. Not, so what? They're building a new bridge, and eventually the interchange is going to be drastically improved, and traffic will flow better. Right now, you're inconveniencing me.
It's funny, little just personal insight into me. My wife says this all the time. I can deal with crises. I deal really well with honest-to-goodness crises. The little things tear me all to pieces. All to pieces.
I can understand that. I can respect that, too. I hear where you're coming from. Speaking of the little things, all right, bad transition. I didn't have a really good one. Let's just bring Stephen Allen Adams into the conversation. Capitol reporter for Ogden newspapers. You can read his work all across the state of West Virginia. He also writes column and commentary pieces. Smooth transition, right, Stephen? Good morning, buddy.
Man, I'm one of the tallest people in my family. You've seen my dad. He comes up to my shoulder on me. So that was a terrible transition.
I was trying to do some transition to like details to the little things, and I lost it halfway through, and just sometimes you just got to abort the mission, Stephen. It happens.
I hear you. Well, we'll move past it.
A couple of days of House-only interim meetings at the state capitol. You were keeping a close eye on the goings-ons at the capitol. What stood out to you from these House-only meetings?
Yeah, I kind of focused on some of the healthcare stuff. On the first day, House Finance Committee had dealt with some briefings on rural health transformation, the $199 million that we have in that first tranche of money. Also, some of the issues that we are trying to navigate from the One Big Beautiful Bill changes the SNAP, where we have to keep our error rate below a certain amount. Otherwise, we get penalized as a state. We're pretty close to hitting the percentage that we need to be at, which I think is 6%. We're getting there. It used to be way worse, that error rate. But it's an important thing, especially now that they have really kind of tied penalties to it. The federal government really is going to be a little less forgiving to states, at least while the Trump administration is in place. If they can avoid giving you federal money, they're going to do it if at all possible. So you got to make sure that all your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, and that you're doing everything right, because if you're not, they're prepared to pull money away from states, and we're seeing it really across the nation.
I think that's a good thing in my mind. If you're not doing everything you should and not doing it properly, you don't get paid. I mean, kudos to the Trump administration. At least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, but some of it gets a little bit nitpicky in some places. I think the error rate, though, is one of those areas that is important, because you're talking about benefits. You want those benefits to go to the people that most need it. You want that safety net there. And when you have fraud, when you have abuse, or even if you just have major mistakes, we saw this out in Minnesota. That hurts everybody. That hurts the taxpayer, but it also hurts the person that is in need of those benefits. So in that case, I don't know if I have a problem with it. We'll have to see ultimately if maybe they're being too strict and it knocks people off that really should be on it. We'll have to see. The proof will be in the pudding. But I do think the overall goal, I think, should be lauded.
Talking to Stephen Adams, Ogden newspapers. One of the issues that came up, and we're going to hopefully talk to Delegate Joe Statler, in the next day or so. Public education funding, special education costs continue to rise. There are more special education students, which means it costs more to educate them. We talked a lot about this during the session. Didn't really get anywhere on the school aid formula, but it certainly felt, and you know what I think about feeling, Stephen, that the groundwork is being right. The groundwork is being laid to take on some sort of a major initiative with this when we get back for the regular session in January.
Oh, absolutely. We are going to hit a wall at some point where the state will have to address this in some way, because it gets lost in the shuffle. People like to throw out sometimes how much money in total gets spent in the school system in West Virginia, but it's not just one homogenous system. It's 55 county school systems. They all have different levy rates, bond rates. They all get money different ways. Some counties don't even get school aid formula money because they're doing so well on their property taxes, especially your natural gas counties like Doddridge County and Dave and our neck of the woods that do really well and they don't get it. So they all are funded kind of differently. But the one thing they do all have in common is these special education costs are going up. Now, part of that is, I think, some of the tools being used to determine who falls into these categories are getting very more specific. So you're finding more students being pulled into those categories. That could be a good thing, but there's a cost with it. And at some point, we're going to hit that wall. And I think Delegate Statler knows that. Certainly, State Senator Amy Grady knows that. Mm-hmm. I think certainly they were hoping that maybe there'd be some movement. I don't know if the bill that they were working on this session certainly wouldn't solve the problem, but it was a step in the right direction. But they're probably going to have to do something more extensive this legislative session to address it, and everyone needs to be on board with it because it's going to be a cost, and it's going to be a cost that all the counties face.
Stephen, one of the things that I so admire about you is that you are brutally honest. Brutally honest. I like to think I am too. I'm a tough get. I'm a tough critic. I look at things through a business lens. Yeah. I wrote about this $168 million today. I don't see it, man. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. And I need to look at our paper because I think we have an editorial coming out that's going to be very similar to some of your sentiments. I look, it's a good thing when you're doing these type of reviews of your expenses. Why it took nearly a year and a half to figure out that you have a whole bunch of Netflix subscriptions or whatever it is that the state has. Why that took a year and a half, I don't know. Why did it take it a year and a half? And one of the questions that comes up, we laugh at this thing about requiring the National Guard to mow its own lawn. It's a small amount of savings. What's not really factored into that is, okay, but how much is it going to cost them to do that?
Do they have lawnmowers?
Well, that's it. Do you have the lawnmowers
I know
needed?
That sounds funny, but it's true. Do they have lawnmowers?
It's true. You're paying for the gasoline just like everybody else for this. You're paying for the maintenance of these machines. I assume that they're going to have to pay these various National Guard members compensation for doing this that's outside their normal duties. I mean, there's things to factor in. Same thing with the body cams. Body cams on correctional officers, I think, is a wonderful idea, especially with the problems that we've seen, particularly at the Southern Regional Jail. Very, very needed, and I think they're right. That's going to save some money down the road, particularly fewer lawsuits, because you're going to have more proof. And now shut down a lot of lawsuits pretty quick if you got body cam proof, but body cams cost money.
Yeah.
So do the savings outweigh the cost? In that case, you might be fine paying that cost because that's a good cost to have. But that's a question. But that needs to be asked.
Yeah. Did you see the same thing I did when I looked in the actual audit reports to try to get a number so that I could do the break-even analysis? All I saw was a range. So this one would be a high cost. This one would be medium cost. This one would be low. I can't do the math on that.
No, it's going to be hard to track. And, of course, you didn't ask about this, but, they talked about the 10th issue with the projected $40 million structural deficit, which apparently has no connection. A bunch of us, Brad, Amelia, and myself, were trying to get further answers on this because the only information we have about it is what the governor said in that press conference. We don't have a report. We don't have an audit. We don't know where it all came from. Even the numbers he gave out don't make much sense. I think he said $100 million to $140 million. Well, 10th budget for this upcoming fiscal year is $177 million. So I don't understand the numbers, and we're trying to get some more clarity on that. But as of yet, we're not getting it. We keep getting redirected back to the governor's remarks, which, quite frankly, were confusing. So same goes for those audits. We need probably some additional information because you're right, that range, that's not very specific. So sure, you could have $168 million in savings, but my question is, what have we already implemented out of this? And what will we? Because the recommendations, they don't have to do any of them.
Stephen, I looked at this $168 million. I mentioned it a couple of times now. It was good on the governor for actually following through on what he said he was going to do. He's going to look for efficiencies, waste, fraud, and abuse. Here's an example of them actually doing that. It was a little underwhelming that here's your biggest four departments, right? You found potentially $168 million. It was underwhelming, and I looked at it the opposite way of going, if that's all, I don't want to sneeze at $168 million, but if that's all you can find through these audits, seems like things are actually running pretty good aside from having Netflix subscriptions we didn't know about and vehicles we weren't using. You take care of those things. And actually, to me, sounds like things might be running about as efficiently as they can with the funding they have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, keep in mind, government's always going to be an inefficient system.
Right.
It's why we do these audits. It's why, once upon a time we had the Legislative Auditor's Office that did a lot of this. Not so much anymore. That's kind of been curtailed. But these are important to do because government is pretty much inherently inefficient. But with that said, especially the last several years, first under Governor Justice and now under Governor Morrissey, we're operating on flat general revenue budgets for departments and agencies. A lot of these departments and agencies are running on shoestrings. And even, the governor's office had asked state departments and agencies to submit a 2% budget cut when they were factoring in the budget for this upcoming fiscal year. There are some departments and agencies that were actually left off that and didn't have to do that cut because they didn't have anything to cut. They were already running on a shoestring. So in many cases, I think that is correct. It's not to say that there's probably not subscriptions out there or things that they could be doing better to save money. They should always be looking at their operations, but some are already pretty tight.
Stephen, want to talk election. We haven't had a chance to talk election with you. Just this morning, about 9:43, Dave, I forwarded it to you if you haven't seen it. It leaked a memo. It's entitled 10-1, Randy Smith's decisive victory last Tuesday. That sent to lobbyists and senators, quote unquote, because, of course, everybody's going to get it. Your thoughts, high level, on the election?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I had a call on Monday that basically kind of said that nobody won, except maybe the Democrats, because actually, you can find, you didn't obviously ask about this, but I mean, there are lessons to be learned from the Supreme Court races.
Oh, yeah.
And you wrote about that yourself or whatnot for Democrats and independents going into this next election. That could be a whole other discussion. But in regards to the state Senate, again, $5 million. More than $5 million spent by several independent expenditure groups. I think $2.1 million that was Morrissey-affiliated groups. I mean, that's a lot of money to be spent for the battle lines that remain mostly the same. Now, the governor's office keeps taking, or people affiliated with the governor keep taking credit for, wow, we got rid of Vernon Christ and Scott Heckert. Okay, well, you got rid of the finance chair and you got rid of a mid-tier, House of Delegates member. No disrespect to Delegate Heckert, but okay, what does that do? And on the state Senate side, okay, for the governor or Senate President Randy Smith, okay, you're able to secure victories for the people that are in your camp. Well, Takuba was at least, and those affiliate groups were able to secure victories for the incumbents that are in their camp. I mean, the only one that got through that's going to be brand new is Toby Heaney, that defeated Dobkin up in the second. That's the only one new coming in. So the battle lines are exactly the same. The Senate's going to be just as chaotic next year. And I know that there's a bunch of senators taking pictures of Randy Smith and saying, we're all in on Senate President Randy Smith next year. We'll see, because a lot of things happen behind the scenes that we're not privy to, and we're 6 months out from that discussion.
He is Stephen Allen Adams, Capitol reporter and columnist for Ogden newspapers. Stephen, thank you very much. As always, appreciate it.
Thanks. I hope we kept it short.
Oh, we kept it short and sweet, buddy. Short and sweet. Appreciate it, Stephen. Coming up, half dozen primary elections around the country yesterday. A big one in Kentucky. President Trump flexing his muscles. We'll talk about it next.
Getting ghosted is never fun, especially by your network. Cyber threats don't announce themselves. They slip in quietly, disrupt operations, and disappear before you know what happened. CityNet's cybersecurity services provide proactive monitoring, threat detection, and expert response, so your business stays connected and protected. Commit to a relationship built on trust and reliability. Learn more at citynet.net today. And remember, CityNet connects, protects, and perfects.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
Are you ready to reach the finish line of retirement? At the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group, we provide comprehensive guidance for retirement planning in West Virginia. With years of experience, we'll draft a plan tailored for your unique goals. Whether you're just starting or nearing retirement, we make the process as simple as possible, easy, and stress-free. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike to set up a complimentary consultation and get started on your plan today. Let's work toward your dream retirement together.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
5, 3. For your daily fix of sports in West Virginia, there's only one stop.
I would imagine a group of you got together and watched the Mountaineers last night. What were your thoughts on that performance?
It was funny, we were sitting with a guy last night, and he said, all right, I'm going to go put $1,000 on it. Well, down the stretch of that ball game, he's looking at us like, are you kidding me? And sure enough, the Mountaineers came back. I saw him today. He said, yep, I'm putting another $1,000 on them tomorrow.
Sportsline on Metro News Television.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
A little late getting to Fox News Radio's Eben Brown. Eben, my apologies. Thanks for the patience. President Trump flexing his muscles once again in the GOP primary as Thomas Massie loses his primary challenge.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway, right? The President Trump still has his moxie. He had it last week with Bill Cassidy. He has it again this week with Thomas Massie. And I guess we'll have to see if he has it with Ken Paxton in Texas. That was the other big news out of yesterday, that he was endorsing Ken Paxton in the Senate primary against a incumbent Republican, a long-serving one, and John Cornyn in Texas. So the president is out to find true political allies in the House and in the Senate because he hasn't always found them within his party. And he knows that he, first of all, needs to have his party control the Congress after this coming election, because if not, he risks impeachment. But he also needs party, not just party members, but he needs people who are with him in his agenda. Otherwise, he ends up not getting as much done as has been demonstrated by, let's just say, the Senate Republicans that he's dealing with right now.
Eben, many of the states having primaries yesterday. What races stand out to you?
Well, I'm curious about how Georgia will go in November. You know, Georgia is a true blue, I'll say called purple state or swing state. Georgia elected twice a Republican governor, and Brian Kemp. He's term limited out. I suspect that a Republican could win again, but it's not necessarily a foregone conclusion. I think it's Keisha Lance Bottoms, the former Atlanta mayor, who won the Democratic nominee for governor. nomination for governor. And she is someone who is not seen as a very far leftist. She has quite the moderate appeal. And she could make a good case to win the state. In a state that has twice sent Democrats to the United States Senate, and both of their senators are currently sitting senators are Democrats. And again, statewide elections are very telling. You vote for a senator the same way you vote for a governor, and the same way you vote for president, because you vote for president statewide, right? And so I think that that's really the most interesting thing is, would a Trump-backed Republican do well in a statewide race in Georgia in 2026? Because in 2020 that really wasn't the case. They didn't do well at all. That's when the Republicans lost the Georgia Senate seats.
And we only have 6 months to consider all of it, Eben. How will we ever fill the time between now and November? Fox News Radio's Eben Brown.
Do it every day.
Eben, appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Brian Abraham, president of Appalachian Power. They are defending a rate increase that is being challenged. We'll talk to Brian about that coming up other side of the break. We haven't even checked the text line yet. We'll do that as well. 304 Talk 304 is the text line. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. It's 10:30. Let's get a news update from the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Keeping your eyes on a radar screen for the next 5 to 7 days. Not a bad idea. I'll be timing multiple rounds of some chances to likely chances of rain and storms. This is that 5-day potential precipitation. This is total over 5 days. Blues and purples, that's like 1 to 2 plus inches of total rainfall, with locally higher amounts. Yesterday, we warmed up well above average and missed the records. High of 89 yesterday in Charleston, a good 12 degrees above average yesterday. No rain yesterday. Now, today, rain will be likely as soon as this morning. We have a cold front pushing west to east today with some embedded areas of low pressure, so generally likely rain and storms. I'll be timing some multiple rounds potentially with this frontal passage. Most of us have a marginal risk today of some isolated severe storms. Hail and damaging winds are possible, and also a marginal risk of excessive rain for some local flash flood potential. Fly Sierra forecast, it starts at home. To the east, still some record heat out there in spots like Washington, D.C. and New York City potentially. New York City, another day with a heat advisory out there. To the north, rain storms likely. Can't rule out a strong or severe storm and some very heavy rain. Lows in the 50s and upper 40s tonight. To the east, still some lingering heat concerns out here. Low to mid-90s for many of you. Mid-50s tonight. Watching for local flash flood potential and an isolated severe storm. Rain and stormy, warmer than average today. Lows around 50s, some 60s to the eastern areas tonight. And to the south, still some highs well in the ranks of the mid to upper 80s. Huntington near 83. Lows around the mid-50s and low 60s for many of us tonight. In Charleston, rainstorms likely. Isolated flash flooding and a severe storm can't be ruled out. Thursday through the holiday weekend, Memorial Day, Tuesday, all chances to likely chances of rain. Timing a warm frontal push at some point for the holiday weekend. Some more moisture coming in too.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
On the next State of Minds.
I think if it wasn't for West Virginia, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. The Rhine has been rising over Seneca Rocks for millions of years. I wanted to capture it in a way that was authentic and maybe different than people have ever seen it before.
Talk 304 is the text line. You can give us a call at 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. We'll get to your thoughts coming up in the next segment. Mike McKenna, Washington Times columnist, will join us at 11:06. Appalachian Power is responding to an appeal filed in connection with a recent rate increase approved for the utility by the State Public Service Commission. The PSC proposed a $40 million inflationary rate increase for Appalachian Power in exchange for the company withdrawing a proposed base rate increase. The PSC said it would allow the inflationary increase if the company held off on a base rate case for another year. Beckley-based attorney Stephen New filed an appeal on behalf of customers last week. The appeal called what the PSC did, quote, an experimental inflation-based rate adjustment that was made without adequate findings or evidence showing the resulting rates are just and reasonable. Brian Abraham is the president of Appalachian Power. He joins us on MetroNews Talkline this morning. Brian, good morning. Good to talk to you.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Doing well. Can you explain for the layperson, such as yours truly, what exactly we are talking about when we are talking about an inflationary rate increase that was approved by the PSC?
Yeah, so, all the work done on this really happened before I got here, but I can tell you, there was thousands of man hours that went into the presentation and preparation of this case, as there is every year when utilities come in and ask for rates. And, going back and looking at what was done, I think the PSC really put a lot of thought into this in coming up with this methodology. I believe they were allowed to do it under the existing law, so, we're kind of perplexed with why this appeal was filed. But, every year utilities come in and make these the cases before the PSC, and indicate what they expect their cost to be and asking for a rate of return. What the PSC tried to do, I believe, and what I think they in fact did, was try to smooth out the increases on the customers, and in other words, give them a break. And that was by looking at these periodic adjustments that occur more frequently based on the current inflationary rate. And so it was a novel approach. It was something they were certainly allowed to do. Our sister or brother utility, whatever you want to call them, in the northern part of the state, they recently filed a rate case just last week that is attempting to use as an option this methodology. And again, it's makes it easier on the customer, and that's our priority here. Is we understand times are tough. Right now everything's the expense going up on everything, and we want to be mindful of that. And as I've been around this company the last month, I can tell you from the top to the very bottom person, everybody here is mindful of the affordability issue as it comes to our customers. And so we're really dismayed by this filing. They didn't participate in the process, and to come here at the last minute and make this case is, just kind of puts a delay on everything.
Brian, good morning. It's TJ. Stephen New, the attorney who filed this case, I'm going to summarize here, basically says this adjustment, there's not enough evidence showing that the rates are just and reasonable. That is a conventional hurdle when it comes to rate cases, proving that the rates are prudent. What would be your criticism to his comment there?
It's just a base allegation. They didn't provide anything to, substantiate it. Again, they weren't involved in the process at all. They didn't appear at all before the PSC. Didn't take part in the case. Didn't make any objections there, and just filed this at the 11th hour. I think really just to grab attention, to be quite honest. And the sad part is it's actually going to have a negative impact on customers should they prevail. We of course don't think they will. But what the PSC did was an attempt to smooth this out, and would have actually, if the rate case had gone through, the increase would have likely been much more. So, after all the hard work everybody did trying to come up with a creative solution to help West Virginians, and particularly APCO customers, to have this kind of punch in the gut, if you will, that will overcome, but it just delays everything. This was set to take effect and will take effect actually June 1st. There's not been a stay issue. But it creates uncertainty, which ripples throughout our company, throughout markets.
Brian Abraham's president of Appalachian Power. So how does because I know what folks are thinking right now, Brian, they're going, how do I as a ratepayer actually come out ahead here with a rate increase? So explain how the ratepayer actually benefits from the plan that was approved by the PSC.
So what the PSC is attempting to do and what Appalachian Power agreed to when they issued the order, there was a requirement that we not only accept it, but that we would waive the filing next year of another rate increase. So rather than have these spikes that we've all seen, and I've been a customer of APCO for 30 years now, so we've all seen these periodic spikes where several years will go and all of a sudden your rates go up by double digit. They're attempting to smooth this out. Everything's going up. And what this ultimately did was an overall 2% increase is way less than the current inflationary rate. So even though there was a slight increase to an average utility customer of our residential customers, it was going to be about $4.80 a month. That if you go to a gas station, that's about the cost of pop nowadays. It's just, everything's going up. But this was a way to really restrain any kind of spike on our customers and smooth that out so that people can plan. And so by taking that tool away, you're going to see what's been going on in years past, and that is these continued rate increases that are based on these annual filings.
Brian, I want to look past this lawsuit for a second and be more fundamental in my analysis. This kind of mirrors what's called in the industry almost like a formula rate, right? So you're setting some kind of expectation, and for planning purposes, people can understand and plan for an average rate increase in order to make the utility whole and allow it to continue to invest. Looking forward, again, looking past the lawsuit, if this is successful, could this be an area that APCO would look at and embrace as a future mechanism to have some kind of inflation-based formula that helps set rates rather than a traditional base case?
Absolutely, and point out that for the last several years, they've been in discussions with the PSC over the possibility of this kind of methodology. And again, First Energy appears to have embraced it and made that same offer to the PSC as well, that they would have a more smooth increase rather than filing their case. So we think it's got legs. It's something that really needs to be considered. To your point, if customers know that every year there'll be a slight adjustment up based on inflation or some other methodology that the PSC would adopt, it's easier to plan for. It's easier to accommodate versus these wild spikes that are oftentimes uncontrollable. You have so many things that go into the way the rates are made. It's oftentimes a little bit more unpredictable, and this gives you predictability for everybody. And so that's why we're hoping that we'll obviously prevail. We believe we will. This just again is kind of disappointing given what we thought was really going to benefit our customers, and we believe it will in the long run. It's just we got this delay now.
And Brian, we're talking to Brian Abraham, president of Appalachian Power, as an average customer here who doesn't have a thorough understanding of all the inner workings of utility policy and what goes into these cases. That's the bottom line. Is predictability. Increases are part of it. We get it. We understand that. But the predictability part is, I think, really the bottom line or the top line, whichever you prefer, when it comes to this, because I can plan for that. I can handle that. It's those double-digit increases that kind of, I don't want to say they come out of the blue, but when you've got 100 things going on, Brian, they come out of the blue. Those are the ones that really hurt. Predictability is a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. Again, the rate of increase that was granted was, if we've got to make a return on the investment in this company, because our customers expect things like reliability, and that takes investment. There's not not enough money just comes from the revenues generated from you paying your light bill, me paying my light bill to give people the improved reliability that they want. So investors make their money by giving us equity to invest and make our products better here. And so we've got to be mindful of that. We have to have a return. But at the same time, we've got to focus on affordability because we understand, we put our customer first here. And again, I've been amazed in the last month I've been here how much of a focus that is at this company. And so we go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you talk about customer first. I'm just curious. that's the missing part of the equation here. We got a lawsuit, but what are customers saying? I'm sure some of you, especially your larger customers, customers have people that represent them in base cases. What are they saying? I mean, if they don't have a problem with it, I'm wondering why someone else does.
Well, that was the interesting thing. After the PSC entered the order, it was generally very quiet. Normally you see a lot of parties, not historically being in government. A lot of people came out, when these rate cases came out or even prior to them and objected. We didn't have any pushback. So this was a lawsuit being filed against the 11th hour as an appeal, which was filed first in the intermediate court, which was dismissed. Has now been refiled to the Supreme Court. It came quite a bit of a surprise because we'd had so little pushback on it. I think people got it, that understood that by smoothing this out and creating some predictability was a win for everybody.
Brian Abraham, president of Appalachian Power. Brian, we appreciate the time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. We'll get to the text line coming up, 304-TALK, 304. Phone calls are welcome as well at 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios. Back after this.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
WV Metro News.
Nasal obstruction, stuffiness, blockage. Is it allergy? Is it sinus? A lot of times it may be both. The Delview Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center is a clinic where we house all specialties that take care of allergies and sinuses together. You name it, we have it. It's one-stop shopping. Anything ENT that needs done for the citizens of West Virginia, we can provide that care.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown! We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
The region's largest restoration firm, responding from 5 locations. When disaster strikes your home or business, call Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Metro News Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
304 Talk 304 is the text line. A couple million could go a long way. The Lotto America jackpot starts at $2 million and grows until someone takes it home. Drawings happen every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And with 9 ways to win, even the smaller prizes can feel like a big win. Just $1 to play, in-store and online, 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. The current jackpot is $27 million. Get your chance at manageable millions. Couple of texts here, 304 Talk 304. Only a $4 rate increase plus $1 for data centers. I barely afford it now. Every year they add on. Who else will add on? That's why I like the argument. Well, I say ironically. We talk about this when it comes to the tax cuts, right? People opposed to tax cuts. The income tax cut will tell you, well, hey, you're only going to save a couple of $100 a year. That's not that significant. Flip it around every time somebody wants a tax increase or a rate increase. And look, I know they're necessary. I'm not arguing that. We get told, well, it's only $4 a month. That's not that much. It only ends up being $50 a year. It's not that much. Whenever we get money back, it seems like it's not a big deal. It's not going to change your life. But when anybody wants to take more from me, it's only $5 a month. It's not that big. It's like it's 2 cups of coffee at Sheetz a month. Anyway, that's an argument thing that annoys me when we talk about these things. Look, I get it, TJ. Nobody likes rate increases, but I do like reliable electricity. I do like clean water. I do like the fact that all the services, potholes, whatever the case may be, I do like those things. It costs more. I get that. I get it. And you know more about the energy industry than I do. This seems like a pretty fair deal. And the PSC, for as much grief as it takes, does do its due diligence when it comes to these rate cases.
I love formula-based rates.
I know you do.
And that's really what this is. And spreading it out over time is a better way to do it. The formula is predictable. People can plan. All the things you just talked about, whether it's potholes, taxes, utility rates, you know how it gets better? You got more people here to share the burden.
Bingo.
And we don't have that. So maybe that $5, if we have more people, becomes $3. I don't know. I'm making math up here. But you need a diluting factor. And every year we're losing more and more people. So the problem compounds. And yes, it does hurt more. That's the issue.
You know, we talk about that, not to get too far sidetracked, but you and I have had this conversation how many times in just the last, first 5 months of the year. A lot of the root cause of a lot of our problems is our declining and aging population here in West Virginia. And I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's just the fact of the matter. When we talk about tax revenue, when we talk about funding for public schools, the fact that it costs more for special education funding, what's really the antidote to all of that? You just brought it up. It's economic development and more people.
Yeah.
To pay into that system. More students in the schools equal, under the current formula at least, TJ, that's more state aid formula that could be going to the schools, that could be helping to educate special education needs or special needs students in those education departments. That's really the root cause, and that's why economic development, you harp on this all the time, economic development, going out and bringing businesses into West Virginia is so critically important.
There's another way to fix it, but it's a harder way, and people won't want to do it. The other way to fix this, if you can't get more people here, people who work, by the way, if you can't get more people here who work, the other way to fix this is we are too spread out. Our economic density is a huge problem. So the other way to fix it, if you're not going to grow the pie, is to consolidate it. And that means having people move to city centers, having people be, more closely grouped so that you don't need as much infrastructure. You don't need as many buses running across the county. Nobody wants to do that because no one wants to surrender their way of life or their homestead that's been in the family for years and years. I get that. So pick or choose. What do you want to do? Do you want to grow? Do we want to do what we need to? Or do we want to do something really, really tough, which is to eventually say, hey, we're not going to pave this road anymore. Sorry. Or, hey, we're not going to bring infrastructure here. You're never going to get sewer systems here. Can't afford it. Sorry. That's just the brass tacks of it.
Hey, what if there's a middle point? What if there's a middle ground where you could attract a business that doesn't necessarily bring in a bunch of people that annoy us, that we don't like anyway, but generates a ton in tax revenue? What if there was an industry like that?
Go ahead.
Data centers.
Data centers.
That's why Governor Morrissey's not far off the mark when saying he wants to attract those types. Now, look, there's a right way to do it. There's a responsible way to do it. We're going to talk about it in the second hour with Matt Cloak, Country Roads News, about the proposal in Tucker County. There's a right way and a wrong way. But I see that being maybe not, it's not the silver bullet. There is no such thing, right, TJ? But it certainly could be a variable in fixing some of our revenue problems without adding a bunch of people that need those types of services and infrastructure. Just a thought.
I'm going to be humble when I say this, but I'm going to be brutally honest. How much of this is a cultural problem? I'm born and raised here.
Yeah, sure.
I'm born and raised here, so I feel like I can say this. We in West Virginia often look first for a way to say no instead of a way to say yes. That's really what we're talking about here, right? Oh, no, can't do data centers. Oh, no, can't relocate. Oh, no, can't. You have to say yes to something, do you not?
I think that's a fair assessment. That's an Appalachian trait and a uniquely West Virginian trait. I'll totally agree with you. We're very good at that.
Yep.
All right, got to take our final break. I say yes to that. We'll tell you what's coming up in hour number 2. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Welcome back, class of 2011.
Most likely to be a millionaire, didn't quite make it.
Hey, reunion's not over yet.
Over here, millionaire, smile.
Make room, people.
Who is that?
Congratulations to our very own Millionaire for Life!
Never too late, man.
You could win up to $1 million every year with Millionaire for Life. Play in store or online today. West Virginia Lottery. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Nasal obstruction, stuffiness, blockage. Is it allergy? Is it sinus? A lot of times it may be both. The Delview Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center is a clinic where we house all specialties that take care of allergies and sinuses together. You name it, we have it. It's one-stop shopping. Anything ENT that needs done for the citizens of West Virginia, we can provide that care.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Coming up, second hour of Metro News Talkline. We're going to talk to a friend of the show, Washington Times columnist Michael McKenna. He has a new piece on China. And later, Matt Cloak from Country Roads News. There have been some public meetings or gatherings in Tucker County regarding that proposed data center with fundamental data between Thomas and Davis. We'll talk to him about the latest developments there. Your texts are always welcome, of course, at 304-TALK-304. Got a story over at WVMetroNews.com this morning. Greg Carey has a recap of WVU Athletics Director Ren Baker's news conference from yesterday. Update on the premium seating at Hope Coliseum and Milan Puskar Stadium. Also, thoughts on the NCAA basketball tournament, college football expansion, all of that at WVMetroNews.com. Also, high school softball and baseball regional brackets should be, I think there's one softball regional game left to be played, and the state tournament will be set. Baseball state tournament being set as well. Come on back for the second hour in 6 minutes. It's Talkline on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Keeping your eyes on a radar screen for the next 5 to 7 days. Not a bad idea. I'll be timing multiple rounds of some chances to likely chances of rain and storms. This is that 5-day potential precipitation. This is total over 5 days. Blues and purples, that's like 1 to 2 plus inches of total rainfall, with locally higher amounts. Yesterday, we warmed up well above average and missed the records. High of 89 yesterday in Charleston, a good 12 degrees above average yesterday. No rain yesterday. Now, today, rain will be likely as soon as this morning. We have a cold front pushing west to east today with some embedded areas of low pressure. So generally likely rain and storms. I'll be timing some multiple rounds potentially with this frontal passage. Most of us have a marginal risk today of some isolated severe storms. Hail and damaging winds are possible, and also a marginal risk of excessive rain for some local flash flood potential. Fly Sierra forecast, it starts at home. To the east, still some record heat out there in spots like Washington, D.C. and New York City potentially. New York City, another day with a heat advisory out there. To the north, rainstorms likely. Can't rule out a strong or severe storm and some very heavy rain. Lows in the 50s and upper 40s tonight. To the east, still some lingering heat concerns out here. Low to mid-90s for many of you. Mid-50s tonight. Watching for local flash flood potential and an isolated severe storm. Rain and stormy, warmer than average today. Lows around 50s, some 60s to the eastern areas tonight. And to the south, still some highs well in the ranks of the mid to upper 80s. Huntington near 83. Lows around the mid-50s and low 60s for many of us tonight. In Charleston, rainstorms likely. Isolated flash flooding and a severe storm can't be ruled out. Thursday through the holiday weekend, Memorial Day, Tuesday, all chances to likely chances of rain. Timing a warm frontal push at some point for the holiday weekend. Some more moisture coming in too.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Second hour of MetroNews Talkline. Dave in Morgantown, TJ in Charleston. We're in the Encova Insurance Studios. Phone number is 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. That is the phone number. You can always give us a text or shoot us a text. 304-TALK, 304 is the text line. Your opportunity to weigh in. We will get to some of your texts coming up in just a bit. Bottom of the hour, Matt Cloak, Country Roads News, will join us. We'll talk to him about the latest on those proposed data centers, plural, data center complex, maybe would be a better description, between Thomas and Davis in Tucker County. Say good morning once again to my counterpart in Charleston, TJ Meadows. Good morning, TJ.
Good morning, sir. I meant to ask you, we didn't have time in the last segment talking about softball. How's the wife's team this year? How are they doing?
The Red Riders have qualified for the state tournament, Class AA, waiting for those final seedings to come out with the brackets to find out when and who they'll be playing. But, yeah, they're headed back to the state tournament. They're excited.
Congratulations.
Let me brag on them a minute. Beat 4A Parkersburg South last night in a tune-up game.
That's big.
Last night. So let me brag for a minute. And, of course, the first base coach is, it's all on her shoulders over at first base.
Well, congratulations to the entire organization.
It is a fine first base coach / SID / communications director / softball operations director there. You know how it goes when you coach high school anything. You are whatever your official title is, and there are 13 slashes afterward. Mm-hmm. Some things right on down to, refreshments provider at the end of the ball game.
Yeah, you do it all, man.
Somebody's got to feed them.
Yep.
So I digress. But I think we'll have those tomorrow. I think one game left in the softball brackets. We'll have the state tournament set. Baseball regionals underway as well. You can check all of that out at WVMetroNews.com. Friend of the show, Washington Times columnist Michael McKenna has a new piece. U.S. must get serious about winning the war with China. Joining us on MetroNews Talkline this morning is Michael McKenna. Michael, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Are we at war with China?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're not shooting, but we're doing everything else, right? We're in a trade war. We're in a war for political control of really most of the world, right? We're in a war for allies. We're in a war for critical materials. We're in an economic war. We're in an educational war, and shortly we're going to be in an AI war. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, everything but shooting at this point. And, the communist Chinese seem to have a much clearer view of that than we do.
It seems to me we have forgotten in America what China really is. They are not good. They are a communist regime. They cheat. They lie. Why have we taken that for granted, or why do we not internalize that more in American society today?
Because we buy their stuff. I mean, that's the difference between us and, between the Chinese and the Russians. The Russians didn't have anything, they weren't making anything that we wanted, right, except for vodka. The Chinese make a bunch of stuff, right? Made in China. How prevalent is that, right? You toss your own kitchen, you find 100 things, right? So, and people get inured to it. I was talking to a friend, and he was talking about how there was, I can't remember what it was, but it was super cheap and it was coming out of China. I'm like, well, yeah, slave labor will make stuff cheap, right? You don't got to forget union wages. You don't have to pay any wages. So I think we just, over time you become inured to it.
Talking to Michael McKenna, Washington Times columnist. Strategic ambiguity is how we describe our policy when it comes to Taiwan. President Xi Jinping made no bones about it, basically told the U.S. and everybody, if we do something with Taiwan, you need to back off and just stay out of it. Does the U.S., in your opinion, and President Trump need to actually make a formal official statement on where we actually stand, or is the strategic ambiguity the path, at least for now, the U.S. needs to stay on when it comes to Taiwan?
Yeah, I've always been anxious about strategic ambiguity, because if you think about most wars, shooting wars now, they get started over people who aren't quite sure what the other guy's going to do, right? Ambiguity is the great causer of wars. It's much better just to say, look, I'm here and I'm going to do this. If you do that, I'm going to do this. I'm not sure we need to make a statement, but by our actions, at least, we need to be clear that Taiwan is a red line, right? We're not just going to let you cross the Straits of Formosa and do whatever you want. And what concerned me about the trip to China was Chinese not only did once or twice, they came back 3 times on this point. And, the president didn't even want to say, hey, man, it's a good thought, and I'm glad you have it, but we have some other thoughts too. He just kind of didn't say anything in response to it, right? I mean, the readouts of the events were like two different events happened, right? The Chinese are like, we told them that, hey, we might take Taiwan, and you got to stand down and let us do it. And the Americans are like, hey, we got some investment in farm goods. I'm like, all good, but not quite the same magnitude, right?
Mike McKenna, Washington Times columnist, man about Washington, a great American, joins us here on MetroNews Talkline. Why didn't the president push back? I think that's the obvious question. Why? Okay, we need China for Iran, maybe, and Taiwan's in another hemisphere, so why does it matter? But yeah, it made the president look weak. Why not? This is a guy who doesn't like looking weak.
Yeah, I think I know why. I'm not 1,000% sure, but in the run up to the trip, his advisors, his coaches on China had told him, don't say anything, don't take any bait on Taiwan, be super careful about what you say. And that's part of the problem with strategic ambiguity as well. You get a guy like Trump who has no trouble explaining what he thinks about the world, but his advisors are like, don't say anything. Unless you're absolutely sure of something, don't say anything. So he spent a lot of time not saying anything about it.
Talking to Michael McKenna, Washington Times columnist. Mike, is China a country on the rise? It would say it is, but is it a country on the rise that is trying to challenge the U.S.'s position, or is it actually a country on the decline?
Yeah, sort of depends on what metric you pick, right? Mm-hmm. If you pick if you pick domination of stuff like critical minerals, they're a nation on the rise, right? They have a lot of advantages. They spend a lot of trade money wisely on the world, right? Get allies and whatnot. If you think like, what's the core of a nation? Like, can you innovate? Can you invent stuff? Can you build new things? Then no, right? The Chinese have never really been able to do that. And then the metric for me is how many people want to come to your place, right? People are fleeing China, not a lot, but they have outmigration of 5-6 million every year. The United States, let's be honest, immigration is a challenge to us because everybody wants to come here. So, you think about that, who's throwing the better party? United States, 100 times out of 100, right?
Mm-hmm. Back to this question with Taiwan and where it is physically located. There is this narrative that was spinning for a while, a couple months back, kind of died down that, look, we're not going to be the world's cop anymore. We're just going to be our hemisphere's cop. And Taiwan is Taiwan. Let it happen. Why, in your opinion, would that be a mistake? How would that be bad for America if we step down on Taiwan?
Yeah, that would be great thing about being the big kid on the block is you're the big kid on the block. Bad thing is you're the big kid on the block. You got to fight your fights, right? If we let Taiwan go without a fight or without any interest at all, the Japanese would instantly, start to wander towards the Chinese and away from us. They're out there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean by themselves at this point. Same with the Philippines. Same with Australia, right? I mean, it would basically be ceding the Pacific to the communist Chinese. I don't think anybody wants to do that. I know the Japanese don't want us to do it. The Australians don't want us to do it. The Filipinos don't want us to do it. And I'm sure everybody who trades with those folks, basically the entire Pacific coast of the United States, doesn't want that to happen either. So it would be bad it would be a very bad look and have very bad outcomes.
So if you were advising, let's play that game. Why not, Mike? Sure. If you were advising the president, if you were advising foreign policy, does the U.S. need to come out, make definitive statements here? What's the strategy moving forward? Because all of this ties into soybean prices and fertilizer prices and goods here and whether or not we can, oil going to China. All of this all ties in together, everything we're involved with. What would be the strategy?
Yeah, that's why I don't think I'd make a statement about it. I think I'd do something. And the something I would do is I'd always make sure that American troops are always on Taiwan. Not 20,000 American troops, a company, right? 120 guys in training or in advisory capacity or whatever you want to call it. Just make it so that it's very difficult for the regime in Beijing to do anything precipitous, right? Because that's what you really are afraid of. They're going to do something precipitous. You're going to wake up one morning, it's going to happen. I think if you have an American troop presence there, that's a tripwire, right? It's not dependent on statements. They're just there.
Probably a bad idea. Part of me thinks, that huge flag we have out in front of the White House, can't miss it. Right under the American flag, maybe just for a day or two, put a Taiwanese flag up there. That'll get somebody's attention, would it not? Just say, hey guys.
You can't drive around DC with having Ukrainian flags floating all around the neighborhoods.
True.
So why not? Why not? I stand with Taiwan. There we go. We're going to start a new movement.
Hashtag.
Talking to Mike McKenna. He is a columnist for the Washington Times. Hey, can I ask you a question that wasn't on the rundown, but I'm sure you got some thoughts. President Trump involved in these primary races in Kentucky. Now he's involved in the runoff in Texas. He endorsed John Cornyn. Here's my question. Certainly he has gravitas. He has influence. He flexes his muscles in the primaries, Mike. Does he have the same type of flex in the general with margins being as narrow as they are? Does he have the same type of pull for these candidates when you get to the general election in November?
Yeah, there's some data that suggests that it's a small net negative for the president to sort of get in the middle of some in a general election. So I know what the White House political guys are thinking, and then they may be right. They're thinking that he's going to juice turnout, which is going to be dispositive, and in a dozen races are going to be super close. But the reality of it is, we don't really know. We don't really know. We do know this, right? We do know that the Democrats are going to run against him directly. So you have to think any race where he's going to come into, that's going to juice their turnout too. It's no better than a jump ball, let's say it that way.
What do you think? Did Trump beat Thomas Massey last night, or did Thomas Massey beat himself?
No, Trump beat him. I mean, it's 10 points, right? 9.5 points, I think was the actual margin. Tom Massey is a pain in the neck. There's no doubt about it. But a different way to think about it is we've spent like a couple $100 million during this cycle now on Republican on Republican violence. We haven't beaten a single Democrat. And it's just, I don't know how to say that any nicer. We're spending a lot of money, time, and energy enforcing discipline, which you got to have. But I mean, at a certain point, you're like, what are we actually buying here?
He's Mike McKenna. He's a columnist for the Washington Times. What did you call him? An operative, TJ? What did you call him?
Man about Washington and a great American.
Man about Washington. Mike McKenna. Hey, appreciate you stopping by, Mike. Thank you. Enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks, guys.
Man about Washington. I like that one. We're going to put that on the lower third next time, Jake, for his on the video stream. All right, coming up, got some thoughts. We'll share those. We'll get yours as well. 304-TALK, 304-800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. This is Talkline from the Cove Insurance Studios.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Welcome back, class of 2011.
Most likely to be a millionaire, didn't quite make it.
Hey, reunion's not over yet.
Over here, millionaire, smile.
Make room, people.
Who is that?
Congratulations to our very own Millionaire for Life.
Never too late, man.
You could win up to $1 million every year with Millionaire for Life. Play in store or online today. West Virginia Lottery. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
The challenges facing today's workforce are real. Rapid change, new technology, and a growing skills gap. But there's a solution. WVU Parkersburg is partnering with local businesses to deliver customized training programs built around your needs. From advanced manufacturing and healthcare to emerging technologies and certifications, we help your team gain the skills to stay competitive. Businesses across our region are already making it happen. Visit wvup.edu and start building a future-ready workforce today.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at wvhtf.org.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off, or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
304 Talk 304 is the text line. We'll get to some text in just a moment. Over at WVMetroNews.com, yesterday I wrote that D.C. politics had been introduced here in West Virginia. And here's the correlation that I saw, TJ. And there were a couple of things that I noted in the column. One, if this is going to be the style, I think it's going to be incredibly hard to get good candidates to put their name in. Professionals who have been successful in business and in law and medicine, education, pick your field. If you're successful, why get involved in this chaotic mess? But also, that brand, so President Trump sees Thomas Massey. Let's use Thomas Massey as an example. Pain in the neck. He's a hindrance to the agenda. We're going to go after him. We're going to get him out of the way. We've now seen this come to West Virginia in Governor Morrissey. Look at the candidates that those political action committees poured money into. They got in the way of his agenda. They blocked his agenda. They didn't necessarily go for the tax cut. They disagreed when it came to the vaccination exemptions. Pick whatever, item on that agenda. Goes after them. Primaries, primary candidates supported the other candidates. We saw what the PACs did. We know the whole story. So there's the correlation. Here's what we don't know yet, TJ. Can the other candidates win in November? Can they win? What will be the results in November? So you spent the money in the Republic. You had the Republican on Republican battles. What happens in 6 months? Now, we know Trump's track record, as Mike pointed out, and that's what I was kind of driving at, is actually a little bit under 50-50. You had candidates like Herschel Walker, great running back, terrible political candidate down in Georgia that ended up seeing seats get flipped. Now, what will we see in November? You might have, and certainly Morrissey's not Trump. I'm not making that correlation because nobody's Trump for that matter. But what I'm saying, TJ, is okay, you went after these seats. Now, can those candidates where you did win those seats in the primary, what will they do in November? And that's why that conversation came back around and why I think there are some tighter races than we might expect. And I'll say it again, if I'm Mike Pushkin today, I am feeling pretty good about the general election.
Yeah, I see it all in the way this has unfolded in these, 2 years, the relationship between the administration and the legislature, how that has spilled over into the election process. I view it all as just such a lost opportunity. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it really is. Mama always told me, you get more bees with honey. Mama was right. And imagine if there'd been more honey in this process. Imagine what the Republican majority could do if the temperament was just a little bit different, if the style wasn't so top down, if it was more collaborative. I view the whole thing as just an incredibly lost opportunity, and I think that's how it'll be remembered.
Well, that style in D.C., right? D.C. now is disagreement is disloyalty, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is stupid.
Right. Well, that has now trickled down. Rather than have a disagreement and then work toward a solution where we're just talking within a party. You don't even have to deal with Democrats if you don't want to in West Virginia right now.
Yeah.
Just work toward a solution where you can lower taxes. Maybe there's a solution to things like certificate of need. Maybe there's a solution to things like the vaccine exemptions. Rather than have absolutes, you're either in or you're out. Isn't that the way co-equal branches of government are designed to work anyway? You want this, we want that, we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely. And you think about the difference in eras, and I'm talking about in leadership. Churchill was often attributed to say there's no problem so complex, so dire, just so messy that it can't be resolved in good faith in 20 minutes.
Wow.
Think about that era versus where we are now, where, to your point, compromise is bad. Oh, you're weak. You compromise. Come on. That's how much things have changed from the greatest generation until now, and it's for the worse. I mean, we should be able to figure out these issues. You bring up Con. Perfect example. Why could we not find some compromise on that? I think you could.
There's absolutely room on that. There are some things where I've talked to delegates who said, yeah, maybe we could repeal it in this area, but not do a full-blown repeal, but this group over here wants a full-blown repeal, and then we're not going to get anything in between. You could find those areas, and that's call me naive, call me ignorant, whatever you want to call me. That's fine. I've been called a lot of things, but that's what I want out of my state legislature, not this D.C. style where You're either all in or you're all out, because that gets you nowhere.
Yeah, and the interests are just as bad. I'm not going to name any names here. You can go back and find the audio. But you and I have asked questions before to different lobbyists on this show. Would you accept a compromise on that? Nope. Absolute. All or nothing. That's a problem, folks. If that's how you negotiate and that's how you go in to try to solve a problem, it's mine. I'm taking my ball, going home. That's the only way this works.
Well, some of those candidates who didn't represent core principles or values or whatever had like 90% scorecards.
Yeah.
90%. Like 90% of the things were in line with some of these political action committees. A couple weren't. And that was enough to go after them. All right. Ran over. Jeanette, I'm sorry. I just saw that you popped up on the call screen. Tell you what, we'll get to your call on the other side of the news break. And then we'll get to our next guest. Matt Cloak's going to join us with Country Roads News. The latest on the talk and what's happening in Tucker County with the development of the data center complex. And by Matt's reporting, it is a complex and a half that is being proposed up in between near Davis and Thomas. We'll talk about that. Jeanette, I promise we'll get to your call on the other side of the break as well. 304-TALK. 304 is the text line, and 800-765-TALK. That's the phone number. This is Talkline on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia. It's 11:30. Let's get a news update from the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening all across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Keeping your eyes on a radar screen for the next 5 to 7 days. Not a bad idea. I'll be timing multiple rounds of some chances to likely chances of rain and storms. This is that 5-day potential precipitation. This is total over 5 days. Blues and purples, that's like 1 to 2 plus inches of total rainfall, with locally higher amounts. Yesterday, we warmed up well above average and missed the records. High of 89 yesterday in Charleston, a good 12 degrees above average yesterday. No rain yesterday. Now, today, rain will be likely as soon as this morning. We have a cold front pushing west to east today with some embedded areas of low pressure. So generally likely rain and storms. I'll be timing some multiple rounds potentially with this frontal passage. Most of us have a marginal risk today of some isolated severe storms. Hail and damaging winds are possible, and also a marginal risk of excessive rain for some local flash flood potential. Fly Sierra forecast, it starts at home. To the east, still some record heat out there in spots like Washington, D.C. and New York City potentially. New York City, another day with a heat advisory out there. To the north, rainstorms likely. Can't rule out a strong or severe storm and some very heavy rain. Lows in the 50s and upper 40s tonight. To the east, still some lingering heat concerns out here. Low to mid-90s for many of you. Mid-50s tonight. Watching for local flash flood potential and an isolated severe storm. Rain and stormy, warmer than average today. Lows around 50s, some 60s to the eastern areas tonight. And to the south, still some highs well in the ranks of the mid to upper 80s. Huntington near 83. Lows around the mid-50s and low 60s for many of us tonight. In Charleston, rainstorms likely. Isolated flash flooding and a severe storm can't be ruled out. Thursday through the holiday weekend, Memorial Day, Tuesday, all likely chances of rain. Timing a warm frontal push at some point for the holiday weekend. Some more moisture coming in too.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
On the next State of Minds.
I think if it wasn't for West Virginia, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Rhine has been rising over Seneca Rocks for millions of years. I wanted to capture it in a way that was authentic and maybe different than people have ever seen it before.
That absolutely fascinates me. If you heard Chris Lawrence there in the news break, we have got to get video, TJ, of the crane lowering this locomotive in behind the Culture Center. I want to go see that. That's my idea of fun, TJ. No, seriously, like, think how skilled you have to be as an operator to place that into that tight space, and you're dealing with all of these. I am fascinated and respect the heck out of those guys who are able to do that with these machines. I want to get video. Jake, get on that. Make sure we have video for Talkline.
Maybe they did film it, right?
Is it already in place? When are they placed? Is it already in place?
I honestly am not sure. I'll have to look. I don't know. I agree. That takes a lot of skill. I had a member of my family. I don't know what you call them, but like the huge skyscraper cranes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He ran one of those.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. Just getting up. Can you imagine just the climb up to work every day? To get to the office, quote unquote? All right. I said I'd get to Jeanette's call before we get to Matt Cloak. I will keep my promise. Jeanette in Bridgeport. Good morning, Jeanette. What's on your mind?
Well, I noticed you had that Mike McKenna on again today. And the last time you had him on, well, at least when I was listening to you, maybe you had him on again before this. But when he was talking about the redistricting that happened in Virginia and how upset he was about it, and he wrote a column about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you all asked him, well, what should we do about it? And he said, well, I think we're going to have to start shooting each other. Neither one of you said a thing. And we're supposed to be against political violence. You tell me how you just let that slip by.
Because he's being facetious, and that was absolutely clear, Jeanette. Because he was being facetious, and that was absolutely clear. That's why. That's why we let it slip by. I mean, you can tell the difference between sarcasm and when people are actually being serious. And obviously, he wasn't being serious. Was he being over the top to make a point? Yes. But he was being completely facetious. But thank you for the call, Jeanette. I appreciate it very much. Over in Tucker County I hear you chuckle. What are you chuckling at over there?
I just thought hyperbole, I should say, and being hyperbolic was understood.
Yeah, well, sometimes, comedy's hard, TJ. Comedy's hard. Leave it to the professionals is what somebody once told me. Representatives from Fundamental Data made their first public appearance in Tucker County on Saturday. More than a year after news of a proposed power plant and data center complex alarmed many in the community, the presentation offered new details about the enormous project, leaving many residents more concerned than ever. That is Matt Cloak's story over at Country Roads News. Joining us on MetroNews Talkline with the latest on that data center development is the aforementioned Matt Cloak. Matt, good morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, good morning. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Enormous is a word we do not use enough in journalism. Let me tell you that, Matt. But as I read through the story, enormous is a pretty good descriptor for this project. What did we learn about what's being proposed there up near Thomas and Davis?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece that I came away with was, as you mentioned, the size. Last year, there was a Wall Street Journal article that stated the project would be about 10,000 acres, but that fact wasn't attributed. It was kind of assumed that it was from Fundamental Data, but the Wall Street Journal didn't have, that attribution there. So folks have been wondering how big, or, what would take up 10,000 acres. It wouldn't just be the power plant. Would it be, 10,000 acres of just data centers? And the Fundamental Data reps kind of offhandedly, mentioned to the crowd that phase one is the quote unquote Ridgeline project. Phase two is a potential second natural gas power plant, and phase three would be a nuclear plant, a third plant total. 10,000 acres is pretty large. They did give some acreage for the data center complex and power generation, that sort of thing. But it really, I think, shocked folks. They, it seemed like they, were holding cards that they showed a little bit to the public on Saturday.
Matt, one of the things that has kind of shocked me about all of this, I looked at these folks a bit, and I may have misjudged them. I thought they would be a flipper, meaning they would get a permit and they would sell it to somebody else. With plans like this, I mean, it seems like they're in it. They're going to build it. They're going to own it. They're going to operate it. Is that what you took away from the meeting?
I think it's really hard to say at this point. That's been a topic of conversation since the beginning, since a year ago when this was announced. I live here in Tucker County, so I think I have a pretty good idea of the community sentiment on all this. And yeah, folks have really wondered who Fundamental Data is, who's backing Fundamental Data. who they're connected to, who they might sell to. I think it's still hard to say. I do think it seems like Fundamental Data is ready to move forward with the site that they have right outside Davis and Thomas. But as far as who they might flip to, who they might sell their, or use the data centers, they're really pretty tight-lipped. On Saturday, they really wouldn't answer any questions about Fundamental Data or potential tech companies. And even when you try to do some research on Fundamental Data or these two representatives that were there on Saturday, you really come up with very little. It's hard to kind of figure out.
Talking to Matt Cloak, Country Roads News, did they answer the question as to why Tucker County, why this particular site?
Yeah, they didn't. Well, the particular site, they did answer that question because a lot of folks kind of are asking, hey, just move it down the road. There's a lot of developable land. There's a lot of industrial land off Quarter H kind of heading east. The Fundamental Data reps said they chose this site or moving forward with this site because of undermining, and undermining, is pervasive around here, and they need solid land for it. I think they have the permit, so they're moving forward, so they don't want to switch the site and then have to start again. I think a big piece that is kind of another unknown is the landowner. It's Western Pocahontas Properties, and Western Pocahontas has seemed to be trying to attract some sort of land developer, some sort of big project for a long time. The Hyperloop a couple years ago around COVID was like a big potential project, and that never came about. But I think Western Pocahontas has really been looking for something like this for a while. They have a considerable amount of land all around Thomas and Davis and out Quarter H, and I think this meets the need for them. They want a developer to use a lot of the land that they have, and Fundamental Data or whomever is connected seems to be do that.
Couple of questions on that. That entity, is that a local entity? And forgive me if I'm misunderstanding here, but are you saying that the plot of land was the same plot that we were talking about, the Hyperloop? If so, I don't think I've put that together yet.
Yeah, I can't necessarily speak to that because I don't know exactly the Fundamental Data plot and parcels. It's 10,000 acres, and they said on Saturday it's non-contiguous. Hyperloop, I believe, was planned on Western Pocahontas land. And, this power plant and data center complex, at least the phase one, is on Western Pocahontas land. We do know that. Western Pocahontas, to answer your first question, I think it's a yes and no. They are a major landowner here, but they are a major landowner all over. And I think they did have a bit more of a presence in Tucker County. I think they have an office in Huntington. I think they're based out of Texas as well. So yes and no. I think they do have some reps that come up and have some presence, but they're not a very public out facing company either. It's similar to Fundamental Data. It's challenging as a journalist to find information about Western Pocahontas.
Matt Cloak joining us, Country Roads News. We're talking about the proposed Fundamental Data Centers in Tucker County. I think I know the answer to this question, but the sentiment that I have heard coming out of Thomas and Davis, whether it's been elected officials, whether it's been Tucker United, not a lot of people are crazy about this idea. Is that putting it mildly, Matt?
Yeah, I think that's been a question too. Trying to gauge public interest is hard without accurate polling. A lot of folks have stated that they really are not excited about this, especially folks in Thomas and Davis. If you go down to Parsons, you might have some different takes. They're a little further away. There's industry down there. There's a charcoal plant, and I think there are some folks in the county that are excited about potential career type jobs. But we as Country Roads News have had a hard time really actually getting people to speak on record and data behind who actually is in support of this.
How much of that is the lack of information, the lack of knowing exactly who you're dealing with? It seems like that's where a lot of the consternation comes from.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been a lot of public outcry of how this has been dealt with, through politicians and through Fundamental Data. I think there's a lot of anxiety about the unknowns and the powerlessness. I mean, at the end of this meeting, people were visibly upset. I mean, I'd say some were close to tears. I think, I speak for many folks who are opposed to this. This is not my personal opinion, but people who are opposed, and I've spoke with them, they feel kind of betrayed. They feel like their state representatives and their governor and even some local officials, aren't supporting them, aren't listening to them. I think they obviously feel betrayed by fundamental data. But yeah, I think it's the way that it's been handled and the lack of kind of communication and visibility and information, I think has been hard for folks here.
Taking a look at your piece, one of the topics that you hit on is this concept that was introduced of no zoning laws in Tucker County. That narrative came up yesterday on Talkline as well. Talk a little bit about that versus HB 2014 and what it all means.
Yeah, and I'm no expert on this. There's been some zoning discussion in Davis. A lot of it is centered around Airbnbs and the proliferation there. Tucker County, as I'm sure y'all and many folks knows, big tourism destination. And that's one point folks who are opposed to this, power plant project, speak to. It's going to hurt business. But yeah, zoning is a double-edged sword. I think folks want it in some ways and don't want it in other ways. I think the county commission entertained the idea of zoning a few years back. There's a county planning authority, and they had like a comprehensive plan. And that was kind of outlined, but it just hasn't been taken up. And it does seem like if zoning were in place in the county, it could have, push the power plant a little further away, but it's hard to say because zoning can take so many different forms. But I mean, I think it's a complex issue here. I think folks want it in some ways and don't in others, especially when it comes to property rights and what you can do on your property. But then, what about the lot next to you? What can be put there?
Talking to Matt Cloak, Country Roads News. Representatives from Fundamental Data said during Saturday's event, maybe we should have been reaching out sooner. Have they indicated, will there be more of these type meetings? How will Fundamental Data be reaching out to the community to keep people updated on what is happening with this proposal?
I did not get information on that. I did not hear the Fundamental Data reps say about next steps with community communication or communication with elected officials in the area. So honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, Country Roads News has been reaching out to Fundamental Data to try to, have questions answered and have a dialogue. And we've asked Fundamental Data if we could host, kind of a Q&A and moderate that and make sure it's fair and equitable and non-biased or unbiased. But I'm not sure. The Fundamental Data reps, they answered some questions and they provided more information, but I didn't get a sense that there was necessarily going to be an ongoing conversation, but that's not to say that there won't be. I'm not sure.
Just want to say I appreciate your reporting. A lot of insights, a good read on your Substack at Country Roads News, and keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, my colleague Dan Parks started Country Roads News, I believe it was winter 2023, and I joined on in 2024. And, this is why we started Country Roads News, to cover the news in Tucker County. We felt like there's a news gap and there's a need for local news coverage. And I appreciate the compliment. And I feel like folks have really relied on Country Roads News with all this data center news and power plant news.
Matt Cloak, Country Roads News, with the latest on the Fundamental Data Center proposal. Matt, we appreciate it. Keep us posted, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. Take care and have a great day.
You as well. Thank you. 800-765-TALKS, the phone number, 304-TALK, 304. That is the text line. We'll get to some of your texts coming up when we return on the other side of this timeout. You've heard the buzz about CityNet fiber expanding across West Virginia. Now you can check your address, choose the plan that fits your needs, and even pick your preferred installation window. Visit citynet.net. Remember, CityNet connects, protects, and perfects. This is Talkline from the Encove Insurance Studios.
The WVU Heart and Vascular Institute is recognized among the best in the nation for heart surgery. It's earned the highest 3-star rating from the Society of Thoracic Surgeons in 5 major cardiac surgery categories. Also, WVU Medicine Thomas Hospitals, Camden Clark Medical Center, and Wheeling Hospital received top star ratings for heart surgery. Learn more about WVU Medicine's Elite Heart Program at wvumedicine.org/heart.
Approach your retirement with confidence. With over 150 years of combined experience, the advisors of the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group provide advice and wealth management strategies to individuals, families, small businesses, professional offices, and institutions. With the Stike team, you'll have access to an advising team with extensive resources, a client-first mindset, and a passion for helping transform the lives of those we serve. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike today and join the team that's dedicated to your success.
For over 30 years, High Technology Foundation has been committed to building a stronger West Virginia. Our mission, economic diversification. By fostering innovation and supporting tech initiatives, we pave the way for a brighter future. From cutting-edge research to tech-driven solutions, we're transforming the landscape. Join us in creating opportunities and driving progress. Let's build a diverse economy together. Visit WVHTF.org. High Technology Foundation, shaping West Virginia's future.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Nasal obstruction, stuffiness, blockage. Is it allergy? Is it sinus? A lot of times it may be both. The Delview Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center is a clinic where we house all specialties that take care of allergies and sinuses together. You name it, we have it. It's one-stop shopping. Anything ENT that needs done for the citizens of West Virginia, we can provide that care.
Stay ahead of West Virginia weather with Metro News Television. Now bringing you a new way to stay informed across the Mountain State. Get updates daily at 9, noon, and 4. From headlines and precipitation to severe weather threats and highs and lows. See conditions from panhandle to panhandle and check travel with the Fly CRW forecast. Our meteorologists are on your screens and on Talkline, Midday, Hotline, and Sportsline, keeping you up to date. Metro News Television weather. Accurate, local, and always on.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Metro News Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Let's get to the text line, 304-TALK-304. You can give us a call as well, 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. Thursdays with Hoppy on tap tomorrow, or at least to the best of my knowledge, that is on tap tomorrow. He's given no indication he will not meet his weekly duties. Dave and TJ on the text line. American businesses, American government do not cheat or lie. I believe China and USA have a lot more in common than we think. China, like USA, love our countries and do not really want to live or be anywhere else. We both have to say. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Let me say this. You deploy American technology in China, it gets ripped off in about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
They rip it off. They reverse engineer it. They don't respect patents. Sorry, that comparison is just, it doesn't hold at all.
Let's see. 304-TALK-304. Is it bad that two of the several fears that crossed my mind when Trump got reelected? I'm so sorry, Ukraine and Taiwan. I hope I'm wrong, but worried. One morning we're going to learn China has taken Taiwan, and Trump says it's not worth defending, says the texter. 304-TALK-304. How many candidates endorsed by Trump yesterday were running in closed primaries? I have no idea. Massey was challenged, obviously. I have no idea. Kentucky's closed. Didn't we establish that yesterday?
I can't
Maybe
recall.
Amanda told me that.
I'll
Amanda
look real
Barron.
quick.
I think all of their primary elections are closed. 304 Talk 304. Unfortunately, with our current politics, they are attracting flies to BS, not a honeybee in sight, says the texter. It's great for the listener to get feedback that the text is getting read, even if it's just a thanks and not read on air. It lets the listener know they are adding to the conversation. Those texts that are out of bounds or silly, I wouldn't expect a response. Thanks so much, says the texter. Oh, thanking you. Yeah, TJ's pretty good about that. I'm terrible about it, but Mr. Meadows is pretty good about it.
You are correct, sir. Independents cannot vote. Yeah.
Okay. Democrats hold almost no realistic path to gaining meaningful seats in West Virginia legislature despite Pushkin's false narrative. I disagree with that. Because, look, meaningful doesn't mean majority. If Democrats double their numbers in the House and the Senate, when's the last time they've gained any seats in the House or the Senate? That's meaningful. That's the first step toward trying to regain some traction in a state where you're losing numbers. So, I mean, yeah, so if you go from 2 in the Senate to 4 or 5 Democrats, 9 to 19, that's meaningful. I think that's very meaningful.
I believe most statisticians would say that is statistically significant, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that 5 times fast.
No. Texter says, for Dave, you said call you anything. I forget the rest of the saying. Just don't call me late for dinner. Amen, brother. Amen. Final break. Back in a moment.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
The challenges facing today's workforce are real. Rapid change, new technology, and a growing skills gap. But there's a solution. WVU Parkersburg is partnering with local businesses to deliver customized training programs built around your needs. From advanced manufacturing and healthcare to emerging technologies and certifications, we help your team gain the skills to stay competitive. Businesses across our region are already making it happen. Visit WVUP.edu and start building a future-ready workforce today.
Located in the heart of West Virginia, Bridgeport is the place to play. Endless indoor and outdoor recreation opportunities, including the Bridgeport Complex, coupled with a dynamic food scene, make Bridgeport the perfect getaway destination for couples and families. Explore unique shopping and pick from a wealth of lodging options to find something perfect for your needs. Explore the heart of West Virginia in Bridgeport. Learn more about all there is to do at greater-bridgeport.com.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Nasal obstruction, stuffiness, blockage. Is it allergy? Is it sinus? Odd times it may be both. The Bellevue Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center is a clinic where we house all specialties that take care of allergies and sinuses together. You name it, we have it. It's one-stop shopping. Anything ENT that needs done for the citizens of West Virginia, we can provide that care.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
A couple of million could go a long way. The Lotto America jackpot starts at $2 million and grows until someone takes it home. Drawings happen every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And with 9 ways to win, even the smaller prizes can feel like a big win. Just $1 to play, in-store and online, 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. Current jackpot's $27 million. Get your chance at manageable millions. 304-TALK, 304. Texter says, good luck to Weir High and their first base coach. You gotta love sports, says the texter. Well done. Well done. All right, coming up tomorrow, Hoppy's scheduled to join us, and who knows what else we might get into for our Thursday discussions. Big thanks to Jake on the video stream, Ethan on the audio side, and, of course, TJ in Charleston. We're going to take a 22-hour break and be back tomorrow morning at 10:06. Enjoy your lunch break, TJ. 22 hours. Use it wisely.
Hit them straight, hit them long.
Talk to you tomorrow at 10:06. This is Talkline on Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.